Hello, everybody. I am with your 8th place finisher, Gershon Distenfeld, which we were speaking earlier about your, whether this was going to be a big win or a really big win. But either way, that you and your wife had decided to give the money to several charities. I believe 8 charities. Am I right?
Well, I've identified 4 so far, but there'll be 4 more.
Okay. So, and actually that's something I wanted to talk to you about this is something that I think a lot of people in the poker world have discussed is, finding charities that are effective and finding charities that are, not paying their, CEOs and presidents like gazillions of dollars. So can you talk a little bit about some of the places that you have chosen and why? And maybe, you can give us some tips on how we can do the same.
Well, look, I think you have to do your homework. Just like I'm an investor by profession, and just like I research companies all the time, you have to research charities. There are obviously charities that, I think all charities do good work, but there's some that do better than others. And yes, you want to look for charities with relatively low overhead and that are making a real difference in people's lives. So some of the charities I've chosen, one charity in particular sends teens on relief missions that actually go into disaster-hit areas and help rebuild communities. And what's nice about that is not only does that directly help those in need, but it makes a huge impact on the teens. I actually joined some of these missions. My wife and I have been on these missions, and to actually see people that live relatively comfortable lives actually roll up their sleeves and they see me painting houses and things like that just makes an imprint on young minds that it's not just about giving money when you have those resources, but actually, rolling up your sleeves and doing that kind of work. So that's one of the charities. I give the charities that help with developmentally disabled people. That's very important to me. I know I heard your interview, something called Project Sarah. It just happens to stand for Stop Abusive Relationships at Home, which is very important, especially there's been an increase with COVID and quarantines, with people being locked up at home. Unfortunately, there's been an increase in all kinds of domestic abuse, spousal abuse, child abuse, obviously horrible things. I'm donating to my local food pantry where I live, and try and give towards a lot of the social needs that are needed in the community.
I love that. And I just overheard you briefly talking to Jack and saying, I came here to win, I came here to play. I think there's a big percentage of the final table is coming in with not really a lot of chips to play around with. You got to kind of go big or go home in these spots. And I love that attitude. So can you talk a little bit about kind of what happened and what your thought process was?
Yeah, look, I was aggressive. In both spots I did respond to bets. I woke up with very strong hands in 2 spots. In the first spot I had pocket tens. I knew I was up against a range of likely ace-queen suited plus. It was for a little less than half my chip stack. I came in with the attitude of, I think a lot of the players are looking to kind of, ladder up in the money spot. My approach was I cared a lot less about whether I finished in, let's say, 6th or 8th. I wanted to give myself a chance to win it all, realizing that I could bust out in 8th, which I did. So I figured up against that range, I only had about less than 20 big blinds left. I thought it was a good spot to get it all in with tens. Happened to be I was up against queens. And then the second spot was, I'm at less than 10 big blinds. There I'm up against a wider range. I have king jack suited. That's a real marginal hand. King jack unsuited, I probably fold there. King jack suited was right on the cusp. Again, I'm less than 10 big blinds. I thought that was good to get in. Both situations had many outs. The cards didn't hit me. Wasn't meant to be my day, but that's okay. I had a great. This has been a great experience, a lifelong experience. Speaking to many people, many really good players that have just, couldn't imagine they've never made a final table. maybe I never make one again, certainly at the main event, but I'll always remember this experience. It's just been great.
This is the one for sure, and I have to say, from someone in the poker media and in the poker industry, bringing poker to the mainstream, if you will, every chance we get to have that happen, I think is huge. And I have seen several articles in non-poker papers about you making the final table, so I think it was a big win also for us in the poker community to have you, and I really appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah.
You guys are with us on PokerNews.com.